From day one, when Graham Corns got the job, the Adelaide coaching seat has had the spotlight shining brightly on it.
It's easy to say, no, we're not going to be competitive and we're not going to be a real force, but goodness me, stranger things have happened in the world of sport.
A week later, the Crows had a squad and the combination survived 4 seasons before Corns departed.
You know, I guess the silence at footy club and the time it's taken to settle things down sort of was preparing me for a negative result, regardless of the fact that, I didn't necessarily agree with it.
We're looking. We've got a short list, as Bob said, and we'll be investigating those options immediately.
Believe that and you'll believe anything, but the man to replace him was already on intimate terms with the Crows. Now they were on the same bench.
Rapt was an early feeling I had, but that's been sort of tempered somewhat by the challenge, as you said, that I have got.
We had nothing but respect for Robert and for what he's done and for the way the Fitzroy Football Club approached football.
Robert Shaw lasted nearly 2 seasons before the writing on the wall became clear. Once again, the coaching race was on. Malcolm Blight was a South Australian who had starred as a player.
Not over yet. What drama here at Princes Park. Malcolm Blight, it's a big kick. It's a man's kick.
He'd also coached Geelong to 3 grand finals and needed little persuading to return to coaching.
I guess Adelaide, the Adelaide Football Club is closer to home than anything else I've ever done in football, so I think there is some attraction there.
His arrival at Football Park made an immediate impact.
I think if you run 11th, 11th and 12th, you're a dill to say that it doesn't need an accent in some parts. There's a whole host of things, including players, and they will cop the brunt of what's happened at the Adelaide Football Club for the last 3 years.
Within a week, the captain, a former captain and 3 other senior players were gone. Blight got the squad he wanted and tonight gets the chance to test it against Essendon. Good evening and welcome to Football Park and a game every Adelaide fan has been waiting for. The first outing of the Crows under new coach Malcolm Blight. Tonight's opponent Essendon, guided by the cunning Kevin Sheedy. Surprisingly, it's the Adelaide Crows' only trial game for the year before the season proper starts this Friday, the Ansett Cup opener against Collingwood here at Football Park. Gone are a lot of old hands and the coach for the last 2 years, Robert Shaw, and a lot of pressure on Blight and the players left to just see who's going to step up and take over the leadership roles. Let's have a look at the Adelaide lineup here and some familiar names there. Tony Modra, he's going to be looking for a boom season, especially with Malcolm Blight. It seems to be his forte in getting the most out of players like Tony Modra. Chad Rintle, a former Western Australian, he gets a chance tonight. And watch out for Brett Chalmers and Matthew Robran. They could be set for the key forward and defence roles for a lot of the season. Essendon also looking to improve after disappointment of the SCG. They just missed the grand final last year. Gone from their list to Wanganeen and Cummings. They're at Port Adelaide, of course, but there's still plenty of depth. Just where they'll line up is anyone's guess, with Kevin Sheedy moving the magnets, especially in a trial game. The conditions down here at Football Park are still very warm, 29 degrees. The wind's from the southerly direction. It's going to favour the northern end of the ground, and it should be a great game. Stay with us. We're going to take a short break, then back for Adelaide's first outing for the season up against Essendon. Welcome back to Football Park as both the Crows and Essendon go through their warm-ups. The commentators joining me tonight, Kevin Bartlett all the way from Melbourne and Matt Campbell. Our umpires tonight, Tim Pfeiffer, Justin Schmidt and Andrew Coates. They're the men in charge of the trial game between Essendon and Adelaide. And down on the boundary is Neil Curley. He is the boundary rider. Neil, what's happening down there?
Well, ground conditions down here tonight, Bruce, are absolutely perfect. It may be warm in the commentary box, but down here tonight, there's a lovely breeze, a little stronger than last night, blowing to the left of screen. So I think the players will enjoy the conditions, no doubt about that. Talking to both coaches, firstly, Malcolm Blight. Malcolm is trying to establish the Crows' running game that was there a few years back under Graham Corns, but he's also trying to put a little more toughness, particularly in defence. He wants the players to man up tighter and play harder football, a bit like, say, North Melbourne were last night. He realised that's where the attacking game is going to start from, and he's going to try Matty Robran at centre-half back and leave him there to try and generate some run. Look for a new Mark Rasciuto. He's leaned off. He's not as heavy as he was. He looks a lot sharper and fitter. Nigel Smart is I'd say, a different type of person. He's going to play some super footy. Darren Jarman looks super fit. He really has lost some weight and compared to this time last year. And Tony Modra looks very, very good. And I think Modra will have a very good year simply because he's being coached by a player that played full forward exactly the same way he did. He went for the footy, Malcolm Blight did, so does Tony Modra, and I think there'll be a great relationship there, and I'm certain Tony Modra will have a good year. On the other hand, Kevin Sheedy, he's just looking for something out of his new players. A lot of new players tonight, and I'd expect the Crows to win this game and win it very well.
Good on you, Curls. It should be fantastic. In the background, we saw Mark Bickley, his first toss as skipper of the Adelaide Crows. He won it. He's kicking to the northern or left-hand side of the screen. That is the end favoured by a very slight win. Kevin Bartlett, you've been in this situation as a coach of a new team, your first game. The players are all wondering what to expect from you.
Well, certainly they'll be out to impress Malcolm Blight here tonight because it's their first, I suppose, big hit out against the side of the calibre of the Essendon Football Club. And in the past, Essendon always are very, very competitive. So I think from Malcolm Blight's point of view, he'll get a fair idea of the capabilities of some of his players and the way that they're relishing the task of being coached by him. Kevin, you worked with Malcolm Blight in commentary. Were you surprised he went back to coaching? No, not at all. I thought that he was probably the obvious choice to coach the Adelaide Crows when they're looking for a new coach, to get someone back who has been such a marvellous player both here and also in Victoria.
KB, Essendon side, it is a young side, but Kevin Sheedy always trying new things in trial games and never to be underestimated even because of their youth.
No, well, he's got young Banks starting off in the ruck, a young kid that he's looking to be picked up by Essendon in the draft. He was in their list, but unfortunately was dropped off, so he gets a chance here tonight. And we see Keating in the ruck as well, winning that tap, and Bickley. Connell straight up in the air. Sean Denham, hands and knees, gets the ball out to Morgan, kicks the ball out towards the centre wing, still inside the centre square. Picking up the ball is Keating, showing agility for a big player. Does well, but the ball shovelled out to Morgan, who kicks the ball back inside 50. Chance for the Bombers. Robin runs with the fly of the ball. Kicked off the ground by Smart. Comes out, ball punched back for the Bombers. Alessio, bit of pushing and shoving at ground level. Chance here for Caracella. Bombs the ball into the square. This could bounce through for a goal, and has. So a terrific start for the Bombers. With young Caracella, who's been with the Essendon reserves now for a couple of years. He was actually drafted along with Lloyd and young Lucas as their 10th draft choice, and that's a great start for the Bombers. You have to count that as a pretty lucky bounce through there, KB, to start the game. Just noticed we've got Matthew Robin lining up at centre-half back and Brett Chalmers at centre-half forward. I think that's where Malcolm Blight is looking for the most of the season.
Yes, he's come out and said that will be the case. And also Andrew McLeod lining up on a half-back flank, played there in the internal trial last week as well, and maybe will be there in defence as Keating wins the tap. Going through is Ricky Ollerenshaw, can't break clear. Kick out of the centre by Rashudo, but it's Essendon here with Simons should mark, doesn't mark. Here's a chance for Adelaide due to the error. And the tackle put on that player there, but umpire said no. That was Michael Pryor, and he said there will be a bounce down just outside the attacking 50 for Adelaide. Chalmers, who will be playing at centre forward against Fletcher. Fletcher grabs it out of the air, can't get a clean kick though, comes forward. Here's a chance for Rintoul. Rintoul, the player from Western Australia, was very clean last week. Around the body, high up towards the goal square, too far, and their first score of the evening for Adelaide. It's a minor. And Essendon now lead by 5 points.
I think you see a little bit of Tony Modra in the goal square, sitting back, perhaps a little more licence to take a run and a jump from Malcolm Blight as opposed to Robert Shaw. So Pryor to bring the ball back, designated kicker for the Bombers last year, just lost his spot coming into the finals. Kicks the ball out wide, looking for Simons, jack of all trades. Tonight playing across half-back, picking up Rintoul. Kicks the ball long, down towards the half-forward line. Young sets himself, punched away by Robin at ground level. Pouncing on the ball is Tyson Edwards. Scrubby old kick along the ground, Modra. Hero of the Crows, long raking hand pass, gets out wide for Rintoul. He's been very, very handy early in the game. Just a bit disappointed with his efforts there. Chad Rintoul, former Western Australian, he gets his real first chance here for the Crows. Perhaps a little disappointed he didn't get more of a chance last year, Matt.
Yes, the Adelaide Crows 69th selection in the draft, 22 years of age. But high expectations placed on him this year for a good season with the Crows. Again, the designated kicker Pryor to the outer side. Looking again for Simons. Kransberg kicks long. Essendon in here. Fraser goes inside. Morgan again for his third possession. up inside 50. Looking there for Matthew Lloyd. Jamison in front, comes down to Ellen. He's tackled. Barry Young in there, comes out to the advantage of McLeod. He lets it go for Nigel Smart. No hair this year for Nigel Smart. Maybe that's exactly what he needs. Goes back towards Ben Hart. Ben Hart goes out to the outer side in the path of Tyson Edwards. Edwards quickly plays on because he saw Peter Vardy on the wing. Vardy with some space. Takes a bounce. Drives the Crows forward. Inside their 50. Coming out and taking a mark is the oldest player in the team now, Darren Jarman.
Speaking to Darren over the summer, the dietitian has got into him. He seems to have lost about 6 kilos and feels so much better for it.
Terrific mark by Jarman, just judging that kick much better. And certainly one of the best kicks in the AFL, KB.
Yes, and All-Australian last year as well. He kicked 46 goals in last season, so he's important to the Crows.
The kick by Jarman is true.
KB, here's a good kick. Would you back him running or from the standing start?
Well, I think most people suggest that he's probably just about the most skilled player in AFL football. So he's got all the skills, whether it's from a set shot or whether it's a snap shot. And that'll be a big task for Pryor, picking up Darren Jarman playing in that back pocket, with Jarman lining up in the forward pocket. So 1-2-8, the Crows lead the Bombers by 2 points. And a bright start. Young Keating in the ruck, wearing the helmet against Banks. So the Crows out of the centre square. Chalmers playing at centre half forward. Is that going to be his spot this year? Rintoul been very handy early in the game. Gets the ball back. Good strong kick by Vardy down towards the half forward lines. A scrubber in the end. Ball ricochets back. Vardy now hooks around the corner inside 50. Big fist away at ground level. Jarman weaves his magic. Hand pass doesn't hit a target. Pryor tries to crash his way through. Chalmers had a chance, met heavily by Banks, does well, back to Smart. The ball look, it's a great one. Onside 50, Dempsey, long bomb into the goal square. Backing back there is Pryor. Try to punch it away, bring Stanfield to the ground. Essendon under a bit of pressure. Denham, a cool head in a crisis. Sets it up. Calthorpe, loose man set up out wide. Good play by Chalmers, made up plenty of ground. Caught by Carosella. He's already booted a goal for the Bombers. Smart, twisting and turning. Hooks the ball back. Danger here for the Bombers. Denham drops a chest mark. Fletcher. Kicks short. McLeod.
Andrew McLeod plays on. He's got 2 or 3 players in the middle. They can raffle it between them. That player there is Vardy. Vardy looks long up forward, looking for Modra. Modra one-on-one, easy. Makes it look very easy, Tony Modra. His first mark this year.
Interesting, Matt. Barry Stanfield up in the goal square there seems to be a much more stationary forward, as allowing Tony Modra to move around and basically not have to be the single focal point.
Just saw on the replay there, Modra just experienced there, just nudging out Cook. And, well, here's a marvellous kick for goal. Not tonight. Oh, terrific mark, Chalmers. Well, KB, we talked about Chalmers going into centre forward position. A good start by him already. Looks to be very mobile and wanting to get into the play.
Well, it's been a very awkward position for the Crows to fill ever since the inception of the Crows. We've often seen Nigel Smart playing at centre half back and moving to centre half forward, but really have lacked a key player there.
Chalmers with the kick. You can see the angle. And it's just to the left. So Adelaide register there next behind. They now go to 1-3, leading Essendon 1 goal.
KB, you always liked a goal. You're surprised that see James Hird there on the bench, not playing tonight. KB, you're surprised that the player didn't run out wide and increase the angle?
Well, Chalmers last year, he's only kicked 1 goal last year and 6 goals for his career, so he's mainly at full back. So I think that Malcolm Blight might jot that down to just open up the face of goals a little bit. And we see Banks there, couldn't take the mark for the Bombers. Calthorpe, good hands to Carosella, who's been very lively in this opening term. Morgan also picking up possessions. Another young Bomber inside 50. The target down there, and that's a good mark to Lucas. And Lucas and Lloyd, both teenagers.
Big things expected of them at Essendon?
Well, they've got to play very well. They did that towards the end of last season when both Lucas and Lloyd at full forward and centre half forward gave the Bombers so much bite. 2 young guns, and a lot will depend upon the way they play this year to the Bombers' chances. So Lucas, we're kicking right on 50. He's a raking left foot kick. He's just pushed it right. Just a minor score.
He did have a big year last year, Matt. Be interesting to see just how he comes along.
Yeah, well, they, as KB said, they're really looking for Lloyd and Lucas. They're the two new forward options for them up forward. As the kick-in finds Connell. Former Best and Fairest winner. Hart provides the option. Straight, direct, up towards Chalmers, but getting back and taking a nice mark is Damien Hardwick. Hardwick off to Morgan. Runs into a bit of trouble. Goes back. Hardwick gets another possession. Inside 50. Hart knocks it down in front. In there is Barnard. Barnard gives it back to Denham. Denham on the left boot up towards a player. He's spotted up near the goal square. Goes through his hands. That was a golden opportunity. And Jamieson will mop up for Adelaide. Jamieson clears to the centre wing side, to the grandstand side. Robran for his first possession of the evening.
An uncharacteristic mistake there by young Lloyd as Robran kicks the ball back. Chalmers the high flyer, then does well, taps it on. The runner's Bickley. Ball beats him over the line.
KB, what is it about the Adelaide Crows? Jamieson no hair, Nigel Smart no hair, McLeod, Robran.
Well, you're asking the wrong fella.
Well, it's the in thing, I'm telling you. Everyone's trying to get the no hair look. It's the look of the 90s.
It is the look of the 90s.
I'm getting it naturally.
There's Nigel Smart on screen. I think they call that a number 1. Morgan kicks straight up in the air. Smart. Go 10 metres. Yes, says the umpire. So Smart bombs the ball inside 50. The high flyer down there was Pryor. Went the punch. Risciuto, ground level, pounced on outside 50. He's off target. Through for just 1 point. So having plenty of opportunities up on the forward line, but the Crows so far have missed a couple of easy shots. 2 by young Chad Rintle. And I think we can put that down to Risciuto. That's one he probably should have done a lot better with. Kransberg. He's missed a lot of games for the Bombers with injuries, particularly with a groin problem. Kicks the ball, looking for Banks. Got his hands on it, couldn't hang on to the Sharon. Morgan picking up another possession, kicks the ball wide. It's all Crows. Robran couldn't take it. Kelthorpe rocket the ball out towards Denham, gives the ball back to Lucas. A hurried kick once more. Deep into the forward line for the Bombers. The big fist away, ground level. It was Alessio, went the punch. Pack of players and a ball up 45 metres out from the Bombers' goal.
Just interesting to watch Matthew Robran adopted number 10 this year, changed from number 5. The number his father wore.
Very famous number at the North Adelaide Football Club. Josh Franco, his nephew, wears it for the Port Power, as we saw yesterday evening. Here's the bounce down inside Essendon 50. Alessio, too much experience there, but doesn't go to the right spot. A bit of lack of communication there. Ends up with Ricky Ollerenshaw. Out to Fraser. Fraser, quick kick towards goal. Just hooks it. But good hands from Ollerenshaw, giving him the opportunity there. Essendon score another minor. And Adelaide now lead by 2 points. 1-4, Essendon 1-2. Jamieson will kick in. He was terrific last week in their internal trial. Really has come of age, Rodney Jamieson. Recently married. Kicks to the grandstand side once again. Shane Allen. On the chest. Up to centre wing, looking for Robran. Has the sit, takes the mark. Terrific mark, Robran. Looking forward to capitalising on what was a great season last year. Robran goes towards Chalmers. Goes over the back. Morgan, who seems to have it on a string early, kicks it high up in the air. Robran has to sit once again. This time he can't take it. Comes down towards Fletcher. Fletcher off to Ollerenshaw. Ollerenshaw looks further afield. Pack sets. Lloyd and Alessio there for Essendon. Ben Hart, McLeod, can't pick it up. Pressures Barry Young. Ends up out in the path of Ellen. Ellen's got a couple of options. He'll use Jamieson. Jamieson breaks free. Confidence. Sprints up the field. Love to see fullbacks running. Jamieson kicks to the outer side where he had a couple of players. Both wingmen. Connell. Inside 50 now. To the lead of Stanfield. He can't mark. Ball goes to ground. Umpire not happy with that. And it'll be an Essendon free kick.
Against Mark Bickley. The Bombers want to get the ball moving quickly. Got a loose player out wide in centre wing. It's Matthew Lloyd. A long way from full forward. Goes short. Bounced in front there of Barnard. Ollerenshaw, hands and knees. Back to Denham. So the Bombers go forward. So one-on-one duel, pushing and shoving Alessio down there. Good play by Hart. Plenty of support at ground level by Allen. Just kicks the ball back and Risciuto marks. Inside the centre square. It's pretty fit. Kicks out wide, the lead's on, and he's got Smart.
Good to see that support way back there in defence, KB. You only need a body to body, get the ball to the ground, and your man will win it.
Goes short, Modra's the target, sandwiched. So the Bombers. Numbers in defence out wide, looking for Hardwick. Connell, the chaser. Denham, cross half-back. The Bombers go forward. Alessio's fallen over that critical moment. And the high price, Tyson Edwards over the top. Well, we saw Hart do it here last year, taking the mark of the year, and here's Tyson Edwards getting the right over the top of Barnard. So the Crows want to move the ball quickly inside the forward line, try and get it down to Modra. You see Stanfield pushed in the back.
KB, I know conditions are perfect, but we could be in for something special tonight. We've had Robin, Rashudo and Edwards. What have they been doing at training? What's Malcolm Blight's the new coach.
Well, he loves the players taking high marks. Took plenty himself.
We're pleased the coach play the way he did.
Barry Stanfield picked up from Footscray. He'll be kicking from right on 50. And once more, the Crows are off target, so wasting a few opportunities in this first term.
Here's Stanfield's first score. And they now lead 1-5 to 1-2. Just the 3 points. Dustin Fletcher to kick in for Essendon.
The Crows are kicking to the favoured end. We watched the earlier game. That's where most of the scoring seemed to be done.
Fletcher, straight down the middle. Coming across was Keating. Spoiled Fraser. Banks in there also. McLeod grabs him a little bit too high, but umpire says no, and I'll have it. Banks, KB?
Well, they picked him up from North Ringwood, and he was on their list last year. He's been delisted, but I think they're looking at redrafting him back. Essendon's only got that one choice. They've got Brett Cook playing at fullback, the former Fitzroy Ruckman, also former Norwood player. So there's only one spot here on the Essendon list that boys are playing for tonight.
Adelaide have gone forward there through good use of hands there, and the ball ends up for another boundary thrown deep in the Adelaide forward pocket.
We saw Mark Rashudo there crash through the pack. The word also, he's likely to get the centre position for most of the season.
Well, as Neil Curley said at the start of the call, he is very, very fit, as we see some of the Adelaide bench there. He is very, very fit. He's lost about 6 kilos. Boundary throw and ruck infringement. And the fish, Barry Stanfield, will be very happy. He sort of gave the umpire a little bit of a look, said, is it mine or is it his? And he's now got a free kick from, as you can see, just outside the square there. So a 15-metre kick. It should be a very easy kick for Barry Stanfield.
And also, who's just coming onto the ground is Daniel McAllister for Essendon, number 4. We'll pick him up a little bit later. And he's a boy who was born in New Zealand, and the first New Zealand-born player to be drafted in AFL football.
Stanfield kick is true. Adelaide get their second.
We saw a couple last night, Matt. Fascinating, the ruck infringements. 2 big men going at it, and suddenly there's a free kick dragged out.
Sometimes it can be very hard to work out who actually is infringing. Sometimes it's honestly a 50-50 situation. That's the way the umpire sees it, the way he interprets it. It ends up with the result.
A little surprising, just 15 metres out of goal though.
So the Crows by 9 points. Goal kickers Jarman and also Stanfield. Keating, this time the ball favoured the Bombers. And we've got a ball up inside the centre square. Oliver Inshaw on the bottom of the pack. Paid the free kick. So he gives it off to Hardwick. Loves the run and kick the ball long. Big pack of players. Lloyd got his hands to the ball. Trying to crash his way through was Calthorpe. Good play by McLeod. Playing cross half back tonight. Different role than last year as a will-o'-the-wisp half forward flanker. Hardwick. Rockets the ball back to Oliver Inshaw. Centre wing position. The Bombers are just bombing in high. Haven't had anyone really take a mark yet on their forward line. Fraser gets the ball back to Morgan. Picking up plenty of possessions. Goes short this time and finds McAllister. So the youngster just spent a couple of years in Tasmania when his family came across from New Zealand. And there's Malcolm Blight. Just studying the situation. So McAllister's first kick for the Bombers. Too close to the man on the mark. Ball drops short and Keating just pushes it through for a behind. Footballers are coming from far and wide these days.
And notice he just managed to pick up the Brownlow medalist jumper too, number 4 at Essendon there.
Gavin Wanganese. His father is a rugby coach in New Zealand. Before moving across to Tasmania, he was with the Tassie Mariners last year, young Daniel McAllister. Tyson Edwards on the half-back flank.
Edwards kick up towards centre wing. Bickley uses his body to edge him out. Gets edged out himself by Banks. Simons comes back to the contest. Inside to Denham. Denham over to Fraser. Fraser with natural pace. Goes towards the true centre-half forward position. Coming out was Lucas. He couldn't take the mark. Ball goes to ground. He recovers well. Gets caught. Morgan knocks it out. Clever play by Morgan. Ends up with Olorenshaw. Over to Caracella. Caracella looks further upfield towards Lloyd. Lloyd has the sit. Umpire's found a free kick. It's going to Adelaide for an infringement, I think, there from Calthorpe. And Tyson Edwards will take the free kick. Tyson Edwards has taken an absolute screamer already. Poor kick, but there was enough time there for Rashudo. Rashudo was a marvellous kick of the football. Connell, centre wing. With time, but a poor kick. A couple of bounces and then a poor kick, KB. It happens quite a bit.
And Fletcher, who I think will play on the forward line a fair bit this year for the Bombers.
May have thought a bad kick, Matt, but Tony Modry was just 2 or 3 yards behind.
Fletcher, who this year will play his 100th game for the Bombers, and just 21 years of age, kicks up with a ball punched away by Robran at ground level. Overrunning it is Dempsey. Is he the person to take over from McGuinness midfield? They're looking for a small man. So the ball thumped back inside 50. It's all Bombers and Hardwick, who's been a pretty handy player across half-back. Last year really came of age for the Bombers.
Gone for the 90s haircut as well.
Well, I think also in this hot weather during the pre-season that the players look for a bit of relief. Just kicks high once more. The Bombers are just bombing into the forward line, so it gives the Crows plenty of opportunities to punch the ball. Here's Modra pushing and shoving with Cook. Should kick, can't quite get there. And the ball trickles through for another behind. So Tony Modra tonight playing on Brett Cook, who is a ruckman with Fitzroy, would have had limited experience playing at full-back, so it does give Modra a chance to maybe get a bit of confidence with a few goals.
And Modra has been as fit as he has been for a long time. A big pre-season. Very happy with Malcolm Blight's arrival and looking for a big year.
Did kick 6 in the internal trial last week. Pryor the kicker to the outer side, but it's all Crows. They spoil each other. Denham gets caught by Connell. Simons. Denham. Olorenshaw. With pace. Kicks up towards Lucas. Tries to tap it to the advantage. Coming through is McAllister. The long sleeve jumper. Here's Banks. He's tackled well. Ball goes free. Lucas is under pressure, so he gets a quick kick forward. Lloyd. Good diving mark by Matthew Lloyd. Had a magnificent game against Adelaide last year. Was best on ground by a mile. But there's the siren just as they bomb it up one more time, KB, and we look at the score. Adelaide 2-6 leading Essendon 1-3, and a good opening by the Adelaide Crows.
Well, it was a good opening. They were heading towards the northern end, slightly favoured, as we said, with the wind. Perhaps just a couple of more goals would have been handy. We saw last night put Adelaide way offline. We saw tonight Adelaide 2-6, but they are there. Quarter time 2-6-18. They lead Essendon 1-3-9. Welcome back to Football Park. It's quarter time. Adelaide 2-6. Essendon just half the score. 1-3. The Adelaide Crows season, it's only 1 quarter old so far and already a spectacular highlight. Young Tyson Edwards there took a mark. We see it come up on screen here. Slow-mo. A beautiful ride. Eyes on the ball. He took one last year at Football Park, Matt, an absolute screamer on the outer side. He likes to jump, doesn't he? Oh,
great to see enthusiasm and youth getting off the ground. No, it was an absolute spectacular mark.
We see Kevin Sheedy there, very excited. Let's go down to Neil Curley to hear the boundary report.
Yeah, thanks, Bagger. Lot different approach from Kevin Sheedy as opposed to Dennis Pagan last night. Kevin very relaxed. He's been around a long time and he realises it's only a trial. But some interesting moves. Smart to wing is an interesting one. I think he could develop into a super wingman once he reads where to get on the defensive and the attacking side. And young McLeod back at half back. That's another interesting one. That could work very well, as with Chalmers at centre half forward. And Malcolm Blight is encouraging his players to take risks, take chances, and try and create some play.
Thanks, Neil, as the ball's back in the centre. Quick kick off the ground by Connell. Chalmers comes out to meet it first. Denham gives it off to Morgan. Morgan with a quick kick. Barnard has support. Fraser, he's got real pace. Fraser has a shot from inside 50. Looks pretty good off the boot. Oh, terrific start to the quarter. Similar to the first quarter. Goal to Fraser.
And you called it, Matt. He had scintillating pace here to get around a player there on the 50-metre. And a running goal straight through.
Here we see in replay. Just ran straight around Shane Ellen. Fraser, of course, recruited from Collingwood. One of the fastest players in the AFL when he's at Collingwood. Will always be in the 100-metre sprints. Terrific natural pace and a great finish. Essendon second, Adelaide by 3 points. Essendon kicked 2 goals, both of them the first of the quarter. Keating favours him, wins an easy tap. Going through was Bickley but couldn't take possession. Pryor gets tripped and will get the free kick. Pryor. Straight down the ground. Up high, Lloyd comes down. Calthorpe running through, is collared by McLeod when he doesn't have possession, and the free kick will go to Calthorpe.
So Calthorpe, it's interesting, just Essendon bombing the ball inside 50. Often the Bombers like to work the ball around. They've got Big Alessio there tonight, and they're just really kicking the ball along. They haven't taken a mark across half forward. The Crows have been very good at punching the ball to ground level. So we can see limping off here. Looks like Shane Allen. And coming on is Andrew Eccles. So Calthorpe has popped through the Bombers' second goal for the quarter, and Essendon have hit the front.
And just looking at Shane Ellen down there on the boundary, he seems to be holding the front of his leg, the driving muscle, so not good news for him.
And the player that came on to replace him, Andrew Eccles, only a young fella, 17 years of age, one of the Crows' picks, and moves very, very well. He's about 6'2", very athletic. As we see Shane Ellen in a bit of bother there.
He was a surprise pick-up by the Crows last year, Allen. Only a handful of games for Footscray, but obviously at that stage Robert Shaw felt that he had something to give the Crows, and Malcolm Blight by playing in this practice game also. He's got good height, can kick a goal, but unfortunately he started the season off with an injury. So a chance now for the Crows. Trying to crash his way through is Rintoul. He's been handy. McLeod across centre wing position takes the mark. He's got a loose player out wide. It's Connell. Does that very, very well. Goes to Jarman, and he's got it right on 50.
When the ball was bounced in on centre, the only 2 players in the front 60 metres for the Crows were Tony Modred, Barry Stanfield. Everyone else forward of the square there.
So Jarman right on 50, centres the ball. So it's a chance for the high flyers. Modred from behind, never really got his hands onto it. Dempsey dispossessed, just finding the pace maybe a little bit too much at the moment, the youngster.
Just talking tactics, the Crows have stuck with Matthew Robber centre-half back, Brett Chalmers centre-half forward. Very successful, Brett Chalmers, in that first quarter.
35 metres out from the Crows' goal. Hardwick. Ball ricochets off the foot there of Fletcher. So the Bombers out of trouble. Back to the edge of the centre square. McLeod paddles the ball along in front. Gets plenty of support. Tyson Edwards does the shepherding. Rockets the ball back to Smart. Back to McLeod. Kicks the ball long inside 50. Modra from behind. Never really got his hands to the ball. Ground level. Young Dempsey. First little bit of class from the youngster. Unfortunately, hits the post. Would have been a terrific confidence booster for him.
And for Kevin Bartlett, watching a young fella pick up the ball like that off the hands, it would have been sensational.
Well, it's good to see Rovers getting to the foot of the pack, and he followed it down from the centre of the ground. We see Shane Allen there with ice on his knee. I don't think we'll probably see him back as Simons takes the kick out.
Simons to the grandstand side. Ola Renshaw is there, goes over his head, but he's still got time to recover. Steps around, gives the handball off to Fletcher. Fletcher goes long. McAllister is there, but getting back was Eccles. He drops the mark. Lucas a chance now for Essendon. Goes long, it drifts into the pocket. It drifts far too far. And, well, it looked out on the full to me, but the umpire says no, it's a behind.
Still a very big kick. He was outside 50, kicking around a corner. He's carried it that far.
Perhaps there is a little bit more breeze to that end that we can feel, Bruce. Anyway, the kick in by Adelaide. Straight up the ground to Aaron Keating. With Pittman and Wren injured, Keating doing the ruck work. Ends up with Smart. There's a player in there in the middle is Dempsey. Quick hands, a little bit too fierce for Vardy. Denham. Lucas couldn't take possession. Dempsey in there, so is Pryor. Denham always on the bottom to Lucas. Kicks it high, doesn't go very far. Morgan has to go back. Keating has the set, should mark and does. Decides to play on the big man. Awkward looking kick, but Jarman playing in front where he should, takes the mark. Now we'll do something with this. Very rarely does it screw up the side of his boot. It has it this time. Out there is Stanfield. Stanfield back to Connell. Connell turns, little chip pass, sees Dempsey, and he takes the mark just outside 50. Just starting to find the ball now, Dempsey. Should go to Modra. Straight towards the grandstand. Modra! Something this crowd absolutely loves is a Tony Modra lead.
Well, Tony Modra's in form. He's taking those jumps. He's got the confidence to do it. As we see there, using the pack, using the ruckman, dropping back for a big ride. That's something that probably has been missing for a couple of years.
Well, he stated he's going to have a better year than last year. He kicked 75 last year. That's not a bad year. So we're looking forward to a terrific year from Tony. From 10 metres out, not a problem. Modra goal. Adelaide get their third. Adelaide now back in front. 3-7 leading Essendon 3-4.
See the replay here.
Well, young Cook did everything right here. He was in front. Maybe some other Essendon players should have actually taken the run there of Tony Modra, because that's one thing we know he can do, and that is jump.
He loves to jump from behind.
But Cook can only play in front, so maybe a bit more support there from teammates. 3-7-25 the Crows, lead by 3 points. The Bombers 3-4-22. Maybe a slight breeze going towards the lake end. It's the end left of screen. The Bombers are kicking to. Banks and Keating have been at it since the first bounce. Denham has the kick smothered. Risciuto. It's a hurried kick. Lands still inside the centre square. Simons, who is a spare parts player for the Bombers, plays all over the ground. Push out there from Lucas, then recovers at ground level, should kick a goal, and drills it. So a quick reply by the Bombers.
We saw it there, the competition between the centre-half back and centre-half forward. Matthew Robin just pushed slightly under the ball. Yes, the player did manage to gather it, but it hit the ground and his players knew where it was going to be.
He's very good on the ground, Lucas, for a big man. Recovers very well. The contest comes, he's back on it very quickly.
Yes, young Lloyd at the moment hasn't been able to hold his marks down there, but as we mentioned before, with the ball just coming in high, and some nights...
Essendon back in front once again. Keating with the knockout. Carousella there. Fraser couldn't take it. Simons does to Denham. Quick hands to Morgan. Quick hands again. Carousella couldn't take possession once again. Vardy round the corner. Out in front of Bickley. Bickley's been quiet. Now swings back onto his natural foot. Up to full forward. Coming out was Cook. Gets the punch this time. Risciuto there. Chalmers. Gives off to Smart now. Smart should score from here. Inside 50, kicks and goals. Adelaide answer well.
The moment Nigel Smart got that ball, the balance, the poise, he just knew it was going to go through the sticks. He looks good when he's confident playing well, Nigel Smart. Might be a little bit hard to recognise with that haircut now, but he's vice-captain this year. I think that's a recognition of the club wanting him to step up, assume a senior role.
Well, I think the move to the wing could be a very good one if the Crows have enough talent to leave him there all year, because he certainly will be able to kick goals from the wing. He's a penetrating kick and he can mark, so he's a kicking option as well, particularly from kick-outs. He gives that extra marking power across the centre line. I suppose the question is whether the Crows can afford having him as a wingman, maybe not playing in a more key position. So Calthorpe kicks half smothered off the boot. Still makes the 50-metre line. Lucas punches the ball away from Robber at ground level. Morgan's been very handy against Bickley. He's had the better of the new skipper. We've got a ball up.
Just talking about Nigel Smart, for years now he's had to take the bigger key position players, and that's probably has detracted from his game. So if he does get the chance in the wing, I think you can see a new player emerging.
So 55 metres out from the Bombers' goal. Keating starting to get a few touches. Smart thumps the ball back towards Chalmers, and Fletcher takes the free kick. Fletcher was a big winner for the Bombers last year when he went to the forward line. Kicks the ball long once more, just high and hoping for the Bombers. Barnard, he's got a black belt in karate. Gets the ball out to Lucas, great smother. Over the top of the ball as well. Tyson Edwards, so Malcolm Blight would be very pleased to see that sort of smothering taking place in a practice game.
Where'd you pull the black belt out from?
That's what he's got, a black belt.
Where else do you pull belts from? From the draw.
Risciuto caught, couldn't get rid of the ball. Tyson Edwards, they raffle it. It's a wild hand pass to Risciuto, does well on hands and knees, back to McLeod, playing across half back. Gets the ball back. Chalmers has it punched away by Fletcher. Fraser gets it across to Simons. Kicks back inside 50. Alessio's there. McAllister. He's got a touch of magic about him, according to Sheeds. Just grazes the post. Minor score. So the youngster there, number 4, from New Zealand. Maori descent. First New Zealander to be drafted in AFL football.
May just be the conditions, but a lot of players going for the big jump tonight.
Well, as KB mentioned, especially Essendon, they seem to be bombing the ball in forward, hoping for the big mark. Kick out comes. Keating is there. Morgan tunnels his way through, gives it out towards the black belt. He can't, or dribbles past him. Tyson Edwards then, kick towards the grandstand wing. Ball comes to ground. Essendon have the numbers here. Ola Renshaw with pace, swings onto his left foot, goes long. Up there looking for Alessio, but Hart judges it the better and takes a good mark. Those two haven't had much to do, so Hart will be happy with keeping Alessio out of the game. To Dempsey. Marks on the defensive 50. Goes short. Rintle started well. Kicks long, lovely kick. Up towards Chalmers. Jarman does a bit of pushing and shoving. Almost has it. It's kicked out of his hands by Fletcher. Fletcher has the support there. Pryor. Pryor decides to back himself in and go across the ground. Outruns Chalmers. Kicks towards centre wing. Lucas will come from behind. Punches it down. Smart reads it the best. There's a bit of a Fosby flop in between two Essendon players there. Kransberg gives it back to Fraser. Fraser to Lucas. Lucas is clear. A long kick. Barnard there, judges are the best, decides to play on, gets caught. Calthorpe, chance to score. Just hooked it, has he? By the look at his face, I think he has. Minor score there to Calthorpe. Narrows the margin back to 1 point. Shitty looking on there with Bomber Thompson.
Now it's the Crows, they go through the centre line. They are kicking towards Brett Chalmers. Hasn't marked one this quarter, but has had 3 or 4 competitions.
Kick out by Hart to the outer side. Looking for Robran. Ball comes to ground. Well done, Fraser. The handball, though, let him down. Recovers. His third effort. Trying to tap it out to get it to an advantage of a teammate. Also in there is Daniel Morgan. Umpire says that's enough, and I'll take control of it.
And it's been a good quarter for young Dempsey too. He was very quiet in the first quarter. We see him there on screen. Number 38, but starting to pick up possessions in the second term.
Just gets that involvement going. Once you get the ball in the hands a couple of times, start to feel comfortable.
Oh, well, a bit of confidence for a youngster. Denham. Short kick, McLeod. Caught by Morgan's been one of the Bombers' best. Carosello also has done well out to Lloyd. It's a wild kick off the boot. And through for 1 point.
Trial games are an interesting contrast. You have the young fellas just out to impress. This is their big chance. You have the veterans who really, they have to go through this process but don't really like it.
Although I dare say that a lot of the Crows players have to impress Malcolm Blight. He wielded a pretty big stick when he came across with McGuinness and Jarman, Andrew Jarman, and also McDermott all gone in one...
pretty big stick.
Yes, and one sort of big move by Malcolm. So I suppose that was a message to the other players here that, you know, he wants to see some action. McAllister, quick kick out of the pack. McLeod pushes the ball through. Dean Wallace couldn't come across for the Bombers. He was expected to make the trip. His wife had twins, and Gary O'Donnell also, the Bombers skipper, couldn't come because his wife's expecting as well. So a couple of senior players not able to take the place for the Bombers tonight, originally in the trip. So an opportunity for a couple of the Bombers youngsters as well to impress. Behind, Smart. This is where he could be interesting playing on the wing from the kickouts because he has got that marking ability. Robran feeds the ball off. Morgan. Make that Dempsey, I should have said. Gets the ball down. So Vardy inside the centre square, looking for Modra. He's got 2 to beat. Kransberg fists the ball away. Connell went short. Ricochets back to Simons. To Pryor. Just trying to set it up. Weighs up his options. His kick's a poor one. Lands in the arms of Fraser. Back to Ola Renshaw, under pressure, has to handball wildly. Calthorpe will crash his way through, flex the muscles, blow up some biceps then. Back to Fraser, to Denham. Ola Renshaw, Bombers under a lot of pressure. Across half back, thumps the ball back towards centre half forward. Big fist away down there by the Crows. That was Jamison, but the free kick will go to Essendon and go to young McAllister, who has been impressive. So Daniel McAllister Long kick, deep in the forward line once more. We see Essendon player and Carousella getting his hands on the ball but not taking it.
Just saw young Tyson Edwards there, had to fly early because he's not the tallest player out there to get the punch. But when he hits the ground, he's got that ability to stay on his feet and still be used to his team.
Essendon lead by 2 points. Jamison kicks long to the outer side. Players set themselves. Robin over the back. Denham the first to recover. Gives it back to Olorenshaw. Olorenshaw getting many possessions. A high ball. Here's a chance for Lloyd. Good punch there by Jarman. Ball comes down the ground. Fraser tries to punch it forward. Realises he's made a mistake because it's all Crows. Robin runs over it. Fraser with the second effort once again. He's been heavily involved in this quarter, Fraser. And umpire says, I'll ball it up. Just on the attacking 50 there for Essendon. They lead by 2 points. As usual, a large group of players around the ball. Keating wins it down well to Eccles, his first possession. Quick hands to Jarman. Jarman throws it on the boot. Coming through there was Simons. A long kick by Simons. Almost goes all the way. But McLeod just doing enough with it. Another minor score resulting. But you talked about Simons earlier on, Kevin. Been around for a while as a bit of a spare parts man. Perhaps 1997 could be his year as a real senior player in this side.
Well, Kevin Sheedy believes he's settled down a fair bit in his personal life, and he thinks that he could have a terrific season this year. Originally from Kalgoorlie way, little town outside of Kalgoorlie. See big Keating here. Showing a bit tonight also for the Crows. Plenty of big men in Wren and Pittman. As we all know, it's nice to have big men coming through. Carousella. One of the Bombers' best tonight. Denham showing experience, sets the ball up to Morgan, who's been very, very handy. He's picked up a lot of possessions. Alessio wants it, so he just kicks it high. High flyer also down there. Good strong players. Lloyd tried to crash his way through, and once more the Bombers are off target, and the ball bounces through for a one behind.
You're talking big men. Once again, we saw Brett Chalmers, the focal point. But the Adelaide Crows missing their 2 biggest men, Sean Red, David Pittman. So there's still, especially in dry conditions like this evening.
How's Wren's comeback been so far after the knee operation last year?
Yeah, he's just taken it very slowly this year. They're
Still
giving him all the time in the world. Kim Coster and Simon Dragenza a little bit closer.
So Keating tried to take him a second grab, taken away by Denham. McAllister says go all the way. So inside 50. Once more the Bombers off target. So Essendon racking up the points. Adelaide 4-7-31. Essendon 4-12-36.
See Sean Wren and David Pittman sitting up there in the stand. Sean Tasker alongside them. Knowing Sean Wren, he'd be just keen to get back out there, but a second knee reconstruction isn't good news.
Long kick in by Jamison. Keating has another bite at the cherry this time. Crowd calling for a free kick. Not too happy with the umpires in the last couple of minutes, especially when it concerns Keating. The umpire says, I'll ball it up. We look at the Bombers box there. Bomber Thompson going to play an important role, I feel, at Essendon. Kevin?
Yes, reserves coach last year took over when Mark Williams came back, and just in front of him, sitting there with a glass, was Noel Judkins, who is regarded as just about the best spotter of talent in the land.
Stanfield knocks it on beautifully. Chalmers around the body towards Modger. Umpire says play on, he didn't catch it. Cook. We're clear for Essendon.
The crowd thought he caught it.
And it runs over for a boundary throw-in. Just spilling out from Modra there. As we see, just gets to it and just spilling out there. So a terrific decision by the umpire. He found himself in the perfect spot to see that. Boundary throw-in out of side. Chalmers wins it down. Simons comes through, gets a relieving kick just to relieve the pressure a little bit for Essendon.
We saw Tony Modra there. What we missed on the television was the body work he did. Everyone remembers his big jumps and his fast leads, but he's actually very good on the ground with his body and the soccer-style kicks as well.
Yes, he does kick a lot of goals off the ground. So Keating starting to do very well in the ruck. Denham around the corner. The ball bounces past Jarman. So a chance at ground level now. Jarman swoops on it. Jamison couldn't take it, but he sets it up. Good chance here for Rintoul. He comes away from half-back. Kicks the ball long. Cransberg. One thing I've noticed, the Crows seem to be kicking the ball a little bit longer, not fiddling around with the ball, not playing possession football. Cook gets it back to Hardwick, back to Cransberg. He'll head towards the boundary line. Now, can it be cut off by Connell? It can be. So can he set it up? He's got Jarman screaming for it short. Ignores him. Bickley was there as well over the top. Simons. Gets it back to Hardwick. Wild hand pass to Cransberg. Pryor should force it through. He's right on the line and does so. And gives away the point. And there's an irate supporter just oiling up the voice box.
Just the one, Kevin? Just the one.
Well, just one in the shot anyway. There might have been plenty off screen.
Group of many.
32 plays 36. The Bombers by 4 points. Pryor goes short to Simons, puts under pressure Hardwick. Simons just tried to crash his way through, did well to Cook. He's playing on Modrup. Gets the ball back, sets up Jarman in the centre of the ground. Couldn't take the mark. Jarman recovers well. Barnard did the tackling. Caught without the ball. So Jarman goes short to McLeod. Across half-back. This being McLeod's position in 97. Mercurial player. Kicks the ball long once more. Crows certainly kicking the ball longer this year, and Big Keating takes the mark.
Terrific mark, Aaron Keating. A marvellous year for Norwood in the SNFL last year. Here we see just over the back, strong hands. Really coming into the game now. Kicks up towards Modra. Pack forms. Modra goes a bit early. Cook gets the punch. Comes out luckily there to Pryor. Gives him a lot of space. Takes a bounce. Kicks out to the centre wing. It's a one-on-one competition out here. McAllister can't mark. Eccles goes to ground when he perhaps shouldn't have. McAllister, clever pickup. He does have a little bit about him, Kevin. Kicks inside towards Cransberg. Cransberg will just slow it up and settle things down. Cransberg. Again, Essendon kicking it high into the forward line. Comes off hands. Beautifully taken there by Edwards. Over to Jarman. He'll find the body. Matty Robran. Short pass. Bickley still has time after a bit of an error. Robin's backed up. Goes to Rashudo. Fantastic kick of the football. Rashudo out in front of Modra. He's got a chance now. He kicks Mercurial goals from here. He's done something here. It's around the body. He's kept it in play for his teammates. Stanfield. Dummies 1 or 2. Handballs to no one in particular. Morgan will clear for Essendon around the body. Doesn't get that far. Over the top, Carousella. Connell, clever, beautiful play, Connell. Presence of mind finds Dempsey. And Dempsey has the mark 30 metres out from goal.
And you call that a good pass to Matt Connell there. As you said, presence of mind. The ball was there. The Essendon opponents were approaching. We just jammed it on the boot. And there's the siren for half-time.
Well,
he will have a kick for goal.
He hit the post earlier on in the quarter. So it'll be a tremendous relief for the young fella in his first game for the Adelaide Crows. Will kick from 30, slight angle. And I think he's hooked it, he has. So he hasn't got his first goal for the Adelaide Crows yet. So a behind, right on half-time to the Adelaide side. They now trail Essendon by the margin of 3 points. Adelaide 4 goals 9, Essendon 4 goals 12. Half-time.
Let's head on down to the boundary. Neil Curley is down there with Ryan O'Connor.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Well, Ryan, a disappointing finish last year, that one in Sydney. Yeah. I know you were part of it. How do you see Essendon this year as opposed to last year?
Yeah, no, I think we've really come on in leaps and bounds. Loris Bertolacci, our fitness advisor, he's got us working really well. And, you know, I think everyone's improving in their fitness. And, you know, our first real hit out tonight, you know, looks pretty good.
To me, the Essendon players always seem to like to take players on and try and get around them, you know, evasive sort of stuff. Is that taught at Windy Hill?
No, I just think it's, you know, a style of the game today. You know, you've got to try and create that extra option. And, you know, we're doing that out there today and, you know, trying to move on with a handball and then a long kick, get it going, yeah. Sheed
seems to insist on that quick movement with the hands.
Yeah, I think that's the style of football today, you know, really move the ball fast and it gives a good spectacle for the crowd and, you know, yeah, that's where footy is.
Ryan, thanks for your time. Back to you, Bruce.
Cheers.
Thanks, Neil. Recapping scores at half-time here. It's Adelaide 4-9-33. They trail Essendon by 3 points. Essendon are 4-12-36. Welcome back. It's half-time here at Football Park. Adelaide, not such a good second quarter there, although they led by 1 goal through. That's 9 points at quarter time. Essendon outscored them, but neither team really kicking all that accurately. Neil Curley is down on the boundary. Curls, what do you got for us?
Well, Bruce, 2 different coaches there. Kevin Shear was very pleased, the youngsters that quarter. He thought they, you know, competed very well, moved the ball well out of defence and played really tight on the Crows forwards, whereas Malcolm Blight was very disappointed with the Crows forward work. The ball went into that area quite often, but very little return from it. And, you know, the Stanfield Chalmers thing hasn't worked yet, but of course it's early days, and they are lacking a real crummer up there. Someone could read the ball off the pack, the fall of the ball, you know, swoop on it like young Dempsey did, but missed his shot for goal and hit the post. I'm very pleased young Keating. I think he's showing that maybe he could shoulder some ruck responsibilities, and I think Malcolm Blight will be looking for a better quarter this quarter.
Thanks, Nuggles. Start of the second half here between Adelaide and Essendon. Keating up, falls flat in his back, Banks in there, ball goes to ground quickly, and as often happens, a repeat of the centre bounce. But this time they allow everyone around the bounce instead of just the 4 from each side. 3-point margin to Essendon at half-time. Keating goes up well, comes down. Someone will knock it forward here. Rashudo bursts out, quick hands, well done. Kick forward, that looks like Visca on the ground. Up forward there, Stanfield falls over. Ball bounces fortuitously there for Rintoul. Gets a quick possession, quick kick out there. Jarman there. Simons seems to hold on to it for a while. Umpire said no, couldn't get clear. And he'll bounce down just about 10 or 15 metres directly in front of the Adelaide goal.
The Crows sticking with that forward setup. Modra and Stanfield up forward. Chalmers at centre half forward. And the crummer that Curls was talking about seems to be Darren Jarman at the moment.
See McLeod on the bench there with some ice on his ankle, but still has the boots on, so maybe just precautionary. Umpire's found a free kick directly in front of goal. I know, Bruce Abernathy, you don't believe they ever do this, but I'm sorry to say that's the second one. And this time again it goes to Barry Stanfield, directly in front of goal.
It's a very valuable free kick, isn't it? Basically his 6 points.
Well, he has already kicked a goal from a free kick from a similar position. Stanfield directly in front, should have no problem. Doesn't. Adelaide hit the front here early in the third quarter.
Just have a look at the replay if we can to see exactly what it was for. But that sees the second one he's got. That's 2 goals from those ruck play decisions that are so controversial.
We see McLeod having a rest after playing at half back in the first half. There's a bit of ice there we can see on his right ankle.
Still has the boots on, Kevin, you'd say, so nothing too serious.
Not smiling all that much though.
Essendon actually wasted a lot of opportunities in that second term when they had 12 screwing shots to 5. They now find themselves trailing by 3 points, 5-9-39. Adelaide 4-12-36 the Bombers. With Keating still in the ruck. Had a pretty good second term, the youngster. He would have pleased Malcolm Blight. Banks for the Bombers. Wins it. Quick kick out of the centre square. Down to 50. Ground level. McAllister was held. No free kick. And the ball up on 50. Young Daniel McAllister there, number 4. Just a youngster. Drafted by the Bombers. His first taste of it tonight. So on 50, Keating. Starting to really show some talent. Bickley has had a quiet night. Kane Johnson over the top of the ball, just off the interchange bench. The headband. Starting this third term on the ground.
Unusual for Mark Bickley. He's been around the ball, but unfortunately not getting too many possessions. The new skipper for Adelaide, so plenty of pressure on him.
So young Morgan picking up there, number 36, has had a pretty good game for the Bombers, so he's taken the points. Wild hand pass, goes to Hardwick. Simons. It's caught by Chalmers, who does the shepherding. Good play. Coming with the ball is Vardy. Gets it over the top. Here's a goal coming up to Jarman. Well, it should have been a goal. That was an absolute shocker.
You wrapped him up in the first quarter as one of the finest skills in the league.
Can I take it back?
It was just one kick.
Well, I would suggest we keep that on tape for the rest of the year, because you will not see that happen very often. Darren Jarman making a mistake like that.
Was it the top spin drive kick?
I think it was his Zutter.
Kransberg brings the ball back for the Bombers. It's a high one. The high flow is Caracella from behind. Johnson keen to get into the action. Smart from 50. He's off target. Just a minor score.
Good to see Kane Johnson out there. Perhaps expected a few more games last year. He's just a young lad and likes to have a go at it. Usually plays of a half-back line, but up forward at the moment.
Adelaide with the zone defence for the kick-in, so Kransberg decides to go short to Ben Doolan, who's on the ground. Perhaps thought he already had it, and then well done by Stanfield to hold the ball in the area. Doolan claiming, saying, I had enough of that. But the umpire didn't see it his way. So Adelaide with another chance. 5 points the margin. Cook, Stanfield over the top. Tapped it out beautifully to Bickley. Collins just on the ground, quick snap at goal. Will it bounce the right way? I think it does. That must have been the wrong end. We saw the Zutter, now we see the wrong end. But it must have touched the post on the way through. Well, I've seen it as a goal, Bruce. It's just touched the post. Here's the replay. Collins.
Might have been a player there too.
It's just grazed it.
Not quite enough spin on that one.
So Pryor to kick in for the Bombers to the outer side. Long kick. Lucas had the sit. Wasn't impeded that much. Umpire says it's his free. Kicks long. Keating drops back for the Crows. Coming over the top. There's McAllister. Good work by Collins. Taps it back to Smart. Smart with strength to Rashudo. Perhaps should have given the first option. Eccles is in there. Back to Collins. Collins from a standing start. Kicks long. Bounces over the top. Stanfield off his knee. Here's a chance for the Fish. Oh, he's kicked it into the post.
It was just bouncing the wrong way, and he just tried to get it back off the outside of his right boot, being a right footer. And well, he's a big man. He's got a little bit of coordination, but certainly not the soccer skills of Tony Modra.
You're being very kind, Bruce. Pryor drives the ball back, looking for Lucas. Ground level. Doolan over the top of the ball.
The Adelaide zone defence for the Essendon kick-in seems to be working very well. Keeps them wrapped up. Seems to be their best option for Essendon at the moment is to go long to a big man, but he's not really taking advantage of it yet.
Very young Essendon bench. Number of recruits there. Henderson with a ponytail. Chalmers, quick kick. Hardwick should take the mark. Interfered with, not paid. And once more, the Crows well off target by Rintoul. Well, that's his third point. So he's had some chances.
Well, stating the obvious, 3 points and 3 goals, there's a lot of difference, but at the scoring end, they really needed to get a lead up at three-quarter time.
44 plays 36. The Bombers' defence under pressure. So Pryor favours the outer side of the ground. The kick wasn't a good one, but Essendon have the numbers, and the free kick is coming back. So goes the Vardy. Good 65 metres out, so he kicks a long bomb. Modra backing back. Couldn't take it. Good chance by Collins. On ground level, gets it out to Smart. Feigns the hand pass, now screws the ball around his body. And Jarman takes a very good mark.
Well, Matt Campbell puts some money on this one. He's still he might have lost 6 kilos, but he still has that bodywork skill just to edge his opponent out.
Well, he kicked 46 goals last year. He made the All-Australian side. He's kicked 1 goal tonight, the first goal.
What's he going to kick this time?
For the Crows? Well, I would think just a nice little drop punch straight through the centre.
Just practicing that last one.
Just 35 metres out. And he's kicked it.
Looked like a sense of relief there on Darren Jarman's face. And probably was Malcolm Blight's face too, when you see so many chances go begging there as the Crows had. You see Smart kicking around his body. Darren Jarman just holding his ground.
James Hird there on the bench. Danny Corcoran, Essendon's football manager, to his left.
Adelaide by 14 points. They've stepped up the tempo in this third quarter. They're really attacking the goal front. Centre square infringement going against the Crows, is it? And Ryan O'Connor. A long kick. Holds up a bit. Maybe there is a bit more breeze. McCartney on the ground. Punch over the back. Here's Jamison. Jamison with a quick kick. Spotted the player. Great vision by Jamison. It's Bickley. Bickley wants support. Now goes long. The lead is there. Out comes Modra. Cook with him. Over the top. Stanfield and Banks go back to meet it. Stanfield trying to keep it in. Johnson also. But it's run out. They've run out of room. And there'll be a boundary throw in deep in the forward pocket for the Crows.
That was the second time I just noticed Mark Bickley perhaps just a couple of seconds too slow getting it on to Tony Modra and the forwards who are leading.
Boundary throw in. Banks towards Hardwick. He's impeded. Johnson. Quick hands. Collins. Terrific handball by Collins to Rintoul. He just can't buy you a goal at this stage. It just doesn't seem to be his night from the goals point of view, but at least let's look at the positives, KB. He's getting possessions around the goal front.
Well, he kicked 2 points in the first term, and he's kicked 2 points in this third term. They've all been very kickable.
The message will go out, give it to Darren Jarman. He's the only one kicking straight at the moment.
Adelaide have stretched their lead, though. It's the largest margin of the game so far, 15 points. Pryor. Seems to be all Crows out here. Keating from behind. Can't mark it. Morgan. It's been quiet since a great start. Cransberg goes to ground. Spotted a player and found him. Doolan. Olorenshaw on his non-preferred foot to centre wing. Carosella. Back to Cransberg. They're making hard work of it. The Crows' pressure's terrific. Jarman with body support. Carosella gets, well, lucky one I felt. Play on calls the umpire. Doolan up towards Barnard. Barnard marks strongly. Gives it off to Morgan. Almost run down. Umpire says Bickley came in too late. How did you see that, Bruce?
Well, I thought it was a pretty fair bump. He was committed. It was a left footer, and he hit him on the left side of the body. These days, Matt, it seems that you're not allowed to bump him too often.
Just caught him a bit high. He had the arm just hit him in the head, and I think that's the reason why that's been paid. I think the timing was all right, but he's just a bit high there, Bruce.
The Essendon teammate straight into remonstrate, so
to see the arm there, the right arm of Bickley just catching him in the head. 2 goals 6 this quarter that's been kicked by the Crows. The Bombers yet to score in this third term. Matthew Lloyd, a few opportunities so far in the game, and he has pushed it right. So first score for the Bombers in this third term is just a minor score.
He has a very casual walk up to his kick, hasn't he?
He's usually a pretty good kick, but tonight hasn't been his night. He hasn't been able to hold his marks. So the high fly there is O'Connor. Went the punch. Doolan on hands and knees. Risciuto. It's 2 strong competitors over the ball. Kane Johnson there as well. O'Connor at the foot of the pack. Carosella over the top for Essendon. So a little bit of feeling coming into the game. Doolan doing a bit of pushing and shoving. Number 22 for the Bombers. Did an article last year on the IQ of league footballers, and Doolan was regarded as the smartest player in league football, working for a company with the First Bank of Boston. Looks rough and tough, but he's got some brains. Risciuto over the top of the ball. Morgan's there as well, has had a good game against Bickley.
I'd like to get a hold of that survey, KV. Can I get a hold of the results of that?
Got Matt Campbell looking stunned.
I think he's in the top 2 or 3 students in New South Wales and VCE. The man's a genius.
And can play football.
O'Connor just throws the ball out to Cransberg. Doesn't find anyone. Bit of magic there from Jarman. Sets it up. Visca through the centre of the ground. A long bomb. Out comes Modra. Tries to push Cook under the ball. Pryor at ground level. Wild kick off the ground. Pushed out by Lucas. Been a handy player for the Bombers. Thrown over the line by Chalmers. Smart's been met heavily. Pryor recovers well. Goes short out wide. Can't find Olorenshaw. And we've got a boundary thrown. It's good 75, 80 metres around from the Crows' goal.
And again, good defensive work by the Adelaide forwards. They're just working desperately hard to keep the ball in the area and not letting the ball run out quickly. Boundary throw-in. Chalmers against Cransberg. Cransberg wins comfortably to Olorenshaw. Under pressure, gets a quick kick straight up in the air. Won't go far enough. Punch down towards Collins. Doolan, the genius, kicks it off the ground towards Vardy. Vardy round the body. It's all Essendon here, though. They've read it better. It goes a bit over Simon's head. Will he keep his feet? He does. And now they'll run it out through Hardwick. Hardwick. Direct, looking for McAllister. Terrific kick, finds him. McAllister in the centre of the ground. Has a player loose on the outer side. It's Olorenshaw. But unfortunately, it's come unstuck. They're trying to set up the loose man. Olorenshaw goes long. 2-on-1 out here. Going back into Carosella's heart. Umpire paid the free kick before he decided to pay the mark. Carosella plays on. Again, bombs it high. Didn't seem to be much pattern there. But unfortunately, and probably the first mistake Rod Jeminson's made all night, went back feeling for the body, trying to find the body there for Lloyd, and Lloyd saw it coming and just stepped around him nicely to take a very good mark.
See Andrew McLeod there, a slightly bruised shin is the word from the boundary. So hopefully not too much damage, and he'll be right for next Friday night against Collingwood here.
Matthew Lloyd, a chance to atone for a kick not far from where he had it before. Lloyd, from about 35, looks good this time, so he learned from his mistakes. Lloyd kicks, Essendon's 5th.
Carlton were very disappointed they couldn't get Matthew Lloyd. Of course, his father played with Carlton, but just not enough games under the father and son rule. And therefore, he was snapped up by Essendon in that deal when they had a pick in the draft, consolation pick, and he's a boy of immense talent.
We saw Rod Jamison just didn't quite know where he was, got 1 metre away from the body, and the result was.
So 6:15.51, Adelaide lead the Bombers, 5:13.43. So by 8 points. Visca from the centre square. Start on the bench in the first half. Kicks a long bomb deep inside 50. Stanfield's kicked 2 goals. Feeds it off to Modra. He's done a great deal tonight, Tony Modra. Cook pushed over the line by Smart. And we've got a boundary throw-in.
Crows players called for out on the full. Would have been the shortest out on the full I've seen for a while.
Tony Modra, just the 1 goal tonight. Came in the second term. Playing on Brett Cook. Former Fitzroy player, hoping to be picked up by the Bombers. Pryor thought he was held. Doolan kicks hurriedly. Back towards half-back flank. And Visca once more takes the mark.
I like his style. He's hard at it always. That's a little disappointed not so many games last year.
Very prominent so far in this third term. Kicks back Stanfield. Banks was there with him. The ball goes over for a boundary throw-in. So
see Kevin Sheedy there. They've got a bench of 9 players, Essendon, as compared to the Crows. They only have 5 on there, so you could see lots of changes. We'll see Smart read that well, and can you believe it?
Hit the post. He looks a wild man, Nigel Smart.
He's got the goatee going, got the bald head. Just hasn't got the kicking boot on tonight.
Well, Adelaide have hit the post 3 times just in this quarter. They lead by 9 points. You see 11 goals, 19. So the radar's off a little bit early in the season. But then again, it is only early in the season in February, a long time before the start of the actual premiership points. Pryor gets the hurry up, then kicks to the outer side. 2-on-1 Essendon. Lucas can't take it. Now he does, but he's under pressure. Good tackle. Simons probably look for the boundary here. Try and help himself out. Does. And a bit of experience there by Simons, just finding the boundary. Malcolm Blight looking on. Mark Micken and Darryl Hart there with him. And Terry Moore just on Malcolm's left. All Terry Moore new to the coaching panel this year. Chalmers a good tap to Bickley. Bickley round the body towards the danger zone. Stanfield goes over his head. Modra, clever tap in the path of Collins. Modra comes back at it. He'll kick this. Round the body, Modra. Terrific work, Tony Modra.
And a great call from Matt Campbell. You picked it when the ball hits the ground. That's where you see more of Tony Modra's skills. He worked in there before the ball. Ended up with it on the left foot, off balance.
Well, just terrific work by Tony Modra. Not... Is he okay, Tony Modra, there? Just a... No, a little bit ginger, but terrific work. There's a bit of a word to the trainer. Says, I'm fine. Back in the centre. O'Connor. Ball comes to Johnson. O'Connor, quick hands, Carosella. Smothered beautifully by Johnson and has the presence of mind to get a quick kick. Adelaide Crows in there hard and fast. Kick there by Hardwick, goes up forward. Good pressure there. Hart coming through. Can't get his handball away. Tim Williams. Smart to Jamison. Jamison with a lovely bit of touch finds Matthew Collins. Collins, can he get it on quickly? Eccles has run down, but Collins is looking for Modra, who's just kicked a magnificent goal. Modra will recover first again. Off the ground. What's he done? Oh, just for a minute there, I thought he was going to provide another piece of magic.
Well, the crowd gets excited when the ball hits the ground. Tony Modra. Kevin Sheedy just having a look on. Things not going Essendon's way this quarter.
David Weird and his right-hand man there on his left.
Right-hand man on his left.
Right-hand man on his left.
Beautifully done.
So the Bombers under pressure in this term. The Crows just keep peppering the goals, but just scoring points from Chalmers that time. He's played the whole game at centre-half forward. So the Crows have been dominating this third term. 7-17-59, they lead by 16 points.
3 goals, 8 KB. That's not good kicking, though. The game could have and perhaps should have been stitched up.
Just 1-1 to the Bombers. Just 2 scoring shots. Pryor having plenty of practice as the designated kicker tonight, particularly in this third term to Ola Renshaw. So the Bombers just keeping possession. Banks. Back to Ola Renshaw. Trying to run the ball out of defence. Kicks to space. McAllister has been very impressive. Youngster from New Zealand, Barnard, using some strength. Traps it, centre wing to Kransberg. Screaming for the ball short is Carosella. He's kicked the goal, wants to go over the top. Smart did well on the mark. Finds Fraser.
That was sensationalised there. He looked at the goal square, then suddenly saw the opportunity in the middle.
So right on 50. Fraser just pops in the air. So it's one for the high flyers. Big fist away. Fisker, O'Connor gives it across. Quick snap. This could be a goal to young Heffernan. So the youngster from Terang. His cousin had a crack at Geelong and also up with the Brisbane Bears.
Martin Heffernan.
So young Heffernan on the ground. One of the draft choices for the Bombers this year. Has got his first taste of it via a hand pass from Ryan O'Connor.
One of their early draft picks, KB?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, his first kick has gone through for a goal, so that makes it a little bit closer.
And that's a great confident booster for the kid and brings the Bombers within 10 points.
Adelaide by 10 points now as Heffernan's kicked his first goal. O'Connor against Keating. Keating wins it. Rintoul tries to get it out. Collins, body work. Kicked off the ground there was clever. Ends up with McAllister. Over there to that player in Jukovic who's just on the ground. Punched away. Ball comes off the hands. Here's a chance for the Bombers. Hart going back for the Crows. It's a hard one. Going in was Fraser. Williams finds himself with the ball. Handball back there. Heffernan with another chance. Here's his second possession. Hands off there to Carosella. He'll have a standing start, but he's pushed it wide. Then a minor has resulted. So Sheedy now putting a couple of his youngsters on the ground, getting their first taste, and already they're all involved.
And what about Ben Hart running back there, had absolutely everything to lose, and just had to stand his ground and get mowed down by a couple of Essendon players.
9 points the margin. Jamison straight down the middle, a long kick towards Keating, over the back. Smart. Been impressed with Smart. Looks like he's enjoying his football. It's really important that he does. To McCartney. McCartney hands off to Rashudo. Rashudo has plenty of time. Low kick, too low. Coming across and cutting it out, but not marking it there was Lucas. Scrambly play. Players trying to knock it out to the advantage of their teammates. Essendon hug it in, and there'll be a bounce down.
So pensive Kevin Sheedy. With Mark Thompson there, the former skipper of the Bombers. Just on his right. David Weirden just pointing out some action on the ground. So inside 50 for the Crows. Hardwick, a hurried kick, virtually straight up in the air. Rintoul crashed to the ground. Smart, who's been damaging across centre wing, gets the ball out to Chalmers, back to Rintoul. He's kicked 4 behinds. His kicking has let him down badly into the pocket. Chalmers, the high flyer, and he's got it. Well, he's kicked 2 goals. One in the first quarter, one in this third term. He's also missed a sitter as well. Was that a smile on the face of Sean Wren in the crowd?
Sitting just next to him, Matthew Liptak, last year's club champion. Dr. Liptak, as we know him now.
There he is there with the white T-shirt on and the sunnies. So Jarman from 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And the champs kicked it. Kicked 3 goals.
He looks a little happier though. Wasn't a sense of relief with the last goal after Adelaide had scored so many behinds. But the Crows just starting to stretch it out now. It's Adelaide 8-17-65. They're 15 points up on Essendon now. It's late in the third quarter.
15 points Adelaide, 23 minutes gone in the third quarter. Keating against O'Connor. Keating wins again. Rashudo with strength. Barges through. Hardwick falls for him though. Around the body, one-on-one competition. Over the back. Can't spoil. Here's a chance. Lloyd gives it off to Doolan. Doolan, a little chip pass, but there's no one there. Going back, Viska. Gets a terrible bounce. Williams comes out to meet it. Ends up with Heffernan. Too slow. Caught by Hart. And umpire says yes. Not good enough. And Ben Hart will get the free kick.
Well, he got that first touch for a goal. Suddenly saw the big sticks again, didn't he?
Oh, he's very keen. But Ben Hart hasn't had much work to do, but he's kept Alessio out of the game. Punched by Hardwick from Johnson. Recovers. Round the body. Quick kick. Couple of Essendon players there. Williams. Lucas went back to knock Hart out of it and missed him. Fraser. Handball off. The player there is Jukovic. Jukovic up forward. McAllister a chance. But going through there is the young player in Eccles. Eccles punches. Jamison goes to ground. Taps it out to Carosella. That probably wasn't on the game plan. Carosella has a shot at goal. Crowd don't... Yep, I think he's missed it.
He has. Essendon really should have done a bit more with that. There was 2 Essendon players and 1 Crow defender there. In credit of the Crow to Rodney Jamison, he kept the ball out. It's a shocking tap out though, wasn't it?
8-17, 6-15. Ben Hart to clear. Eccles, promising player. The one 17-year-old that the Crows could draft, and that was him. Kicks it up the middle, finds Rashudo. Rashudo has a loose player here in Tyson Edwards. Edwards has got Smart further upfield and finds him. Smart really has been impressive, as I said. Kicks it up to the lead there of Stanfield and takes it. Good movement by the Crows. Clean all the way from fullback. Rashudo's run on. That's terrific. No, it's not Rashudo, it's Collins. And terrific work by the Crows. And Collins now can settle down as you can hear the siren to end this third quarter. Matthew Collins has suffered a broken leg and came back into the Crows side last year after kicking 5 goals for North Adelaide and taking a couple of big marks.
Crows have been big raps for him for a long time. They wore him right through that broken leg and supported him.
So a chance for Collins to stretch this lead for the Crows. Tight angle, 30 metres. Looks beautiful off the boot. We're right behind it. It's all clear. Terrific kick by Matthew Collins and a great goal by the Crows. Clean possession football all the way up the ground. Adelaide have their 9th.
Well, it certainly was a quarter for the Crows. They had plenty of the ball. It stayed in their forward line. Unfortunately, perhaps a few more goals would have been just what they wanted. They could have had the game stitched up. See Malcolm Blight there walking down. He's got 1 quarter to go. Adelaide 9-17, 71 at 3/4 time. They lead Essendon by 20 points. Essendon 6-15, 51. Welcome back to football. Moonlight is Neil Curley.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. Gee, it's interesting to compare Malcolm Blight to Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw has spent a lot of time over the board during these quarter and 3/4 time breaks, whereas Malcolm didn't even bother about the board. He just went around the players quietly as individuals, spoke to about 7 of them as individuals, speaking about their own game, and then put them all together in a group and just quietly went about explaining what he wants them to do. And just direct contrast to the way Robert Shaw used to handle it.
Well, the ball's been bounced in this final quarter. Adelaide by 20 points. Simons gets the quick kick out up towards centre-half forward. Visca stands his ground in front, comes to Morgan. Morgan with quick hands. New player on the ground there is Andrew Henderson. Henderson, quick kick up towards the forward pocket. It's going to go too far. Yes, it does. Henderson with his first touch coming on at 3/4 time. And Ben Hart will take the kick. Kevin Sheedy's taken a few of his senior players off. They've had showers. Fletcher, Alessio. There's Hart, kicks it outside the 50. McCartney there for the Crows. Keating also comes over the back. Kransberg with a fist. Henderson is in it. Beautiful handball by Henderson to O'Connor. Here's quick kick up towards the goal line. Bounces just over the back. Edwards takes safety option first and knocks it through from behind.
I think Fletcher off. He was having a good tussle with Brett Chalmers. Brett Chalmers still at centre-half forward. See the experience of Dustin Fletcher on the boundary. I think Brett Chalmers is a big chance to have a big quarter.
It is the scoring end Essendon are going to, although there isn't that much of a breeze, but we've seen most of the goals scored at that end. Jamison.
I think we might have been duped with the wind, Matty.
Yeah, maybe. Jamison kicks it long. McCartney's there, traps it well. McAllister battles for the ball. No one can get clear. It's a ball up.
Young Henderson's already had a couple of touches as we see the bench there. Pretty happy bench of the Crows.
Just noticed at 3/4 time there. Andrew McLeod, he was walking around, didn't seem to be in too much discomfort, so that's good news for that shin. He seemed to have injured.
Jarman, who's booted 3 goals, comes away from the half-back, kicks out wide, looking for Collins. He's a pretty impressive young player, Collins. Even when Modra kicked that goal before, it was Collins who was doing the shepherding. Just in his 2nd year of AFL football. So the ball on the half-forward flank for the Crows. Chalmers in the ruck. McAllister beaten this time. So the Bombers taken away here by Jarman. Gives the ball back to Risciuto. It's kicked as he pushes the ball. Bad bounce here for Banks it was. Gets the ball back out to Simons. Just dances around his opponent. That kicks a poor one towards the boundary line. Puts under a lot of pressure. Coming out there for Essendon, which was Heffernan. And also there was young Rintoul. Back to Jarman. Kicks the ball long back, looking for Stanfield. Bowled over. And the free kick is going to go to Barry Stanfield.
Stanfield just providing another headache for opposition teams up there. Perhaps in the past they've been a little bit Modra conscious. Suddenly you've got someone who's 6'4", can take a big mark, pretty handy with the body. And it's just taking a little bit of pressure off the other forwards.
Kicked 2 goals, one in the first quarter and one in the third. So the former Bulldog. Footscray, now the Western Bulldogs, played at centre-half forward and centre-half back. And he's hit the post.
What's the count, Matt?
Oh, the counts, I've lost count. They're carpenters. They keep hitting the woodwork.
Run out of fingers. You've got the shoes off now.
Oh, well, I'll just stay with the positives. At least they keep peppering away and keep getting close enough.
9-18-72, so still a 20-point lead to the Crows. Pryor. He's had plenty of practice tonight. Short to Simons. One of his problems, Simons, often kicks into the man on the mark with those low trajectory kicks. Doolan spent the first half on the bench. Gets the ball out wide. Just chipping the ball along was Heffernan. The Crows across halfback with Jamison trying to set it up. Finds Jarman, quick hands, back to Risciuto. Kicks a poor one to Bickley. Just a very average night for the new skipper. Over the top. Smart, didn't hit a target. Pryor stood his ground, just couldn't take control. Kane Johnson on the ground for Crows. And we've got a ball up. With Colin McLeod just having a bit of a chat. Just nicely relaxed in a nice practice game at Football Park. Now Smart's been a very handy player across centre wing. It'll be a great asset if the Crows can leave him there during the course of the year, as that ball just bounces through for a behind.
Just seems to relish the freedom out wide.
Well, he's pretty talented and he's quick and he can take a mark and he's a thumping kick. And if you've got that sort of player across centre wing, well, you know, he can be pretty important to you. There's a chance now for Jarman coming through, trying to take was young Heffernan, one of the Bombers' new recruits from Terang. Bickley. Under pressure, gets out towards Risciuto. They can raffle it. Risciuto once more. The Crows have hit the post. Even the goal umpire's having a bit of a chuckle about it. He sees the funny side, as does Risciuto.
Chad Rintoul there. Just had presence of mind. He's been around the ball a fair bit. His kicking has probably let him down, particularly in the first and third quarters, but as Matt Campbell says, he's around the ball and that's important.
Adelaide hitting the post regularly here. They talked about in soccer shifting the goalpost. Maybe they might have to do it here at Football Park. Bombers try to clear it out. Jarman, who's going to make this last quarter his own. I think he's already had 5 possessions. Doolan gets caught high and gets a free kick.
You see Jarman playing further up the field now.
Ben Doolan not too happy about it. Umpire just has a little bit of a chat to him, says don't do that again. Crowd want the ball taken off him as Doolan plays on. Out comes O'Connor, big Ryan O'Connor on centre wing, kicks long. Up there and in front was Jamison, well done, and takes the ball to the boundary. Crows by 22 points. Here's the incident. And just nothing really in it, and then no reason to knock Bickley over there. Lucky to keep the ball. Good knock work. Ball comes down to Smart. Smart round the body. Doolan is there. Meeting him is Rintoul. Doolan does well to keep it in play. Essendon have the numbers. Simons very, very clever. Kicks it inside 50. It's a good kick up there looking for the big player. New player on the ground, is it?
Barnard.
No, it's Barnard. It's the karate man. Up forward, playing perhaps full forward. And Barnard takes a strong mark.
Just a bit too big, a bit too strong in front there. Second grab.
So Barnard will kick from probably about 45. Slight angle. Try and reduce the margin. Former Hawthorn player. Is it just off to the right? He's just pushed it off to the right. So minor score results there for Barnard.
He's the black belt, Kevin. Can't imagine with a head like that anyone would pick him anyway.
No, he's a tough character. He's had a few problems. He's had knee injuries and operations when he first went to Essendon. Did well to get back into the side last year as Jamison, who's pretty darn good full back. Kicks the ball out wide. Advantage paid. Now it's being brought back because the free kick's going to the Bombers. It's going to McAllister. On the edge of the centre square, goes short to a pack of players. And there's a very, very good mark taken by Dean Busby, who has spent all of the game on the interchange bench and has just come onto the ground. So Busby just chipping in here in front of Jamison. So a chance for Essendon. They trail 74 to 53. So they're 21 points down. Kicking to the scoring end. Busby from 40 metres out. He may have pushed it left. Just a minor score.
I don't know, but there must be a wind sideways down there that we just haven't picked up, and the flags haven't picked up either. It is the scoring end, but Adelaide in the third quarter, and now Essendon having a lot of trouble getting between the two big sticks.
So from the kick out, at ground level, trying to crash his way through was Kane Johnson. Tyson Edwards, quick hands, gets it off to Smart. Been fantastic across centre wing tonight. Gives it across to Jamison. So the two bald-headed players run it out of defence. Not a hair on each head. Collins chips it in. Cransberg takes the mark inside the centre square. Raking left foot up towards Ryan O'Connor. Tried to use some brute strength, punched away. McCartney tried to crash his way through. Big pack of players on the edge of the centre square. And we've got a ball up with the Crows leading by 20 points, 74 to 54. Malcolm Blight on the phone. Laying down the law to.
As the bounce down goes, comes out to Johnson. Clever tap. His kick is smothered. O'Connor gives it back to Doolan. Doolan with a hurried kick up forward. Backing back with courage was Hart. Ball spills out there to Jamison. Jamison sees someone in the middle and finds him. McCartney to the run of Eccles. Eccles, short little chip kick to Rashudo. Rashudo will try and get this on quickly. Here's a lovely kick of the football. There's the kick now. It's low and just cutting in to find it though is Simons. I shouldn't have said he was a good kick. Simons kicks it out towards the wing. Out there is Pagan. Ryan Pagan on the ground now. Kicks it up towards centre half forward. McCartney with a good spoil. Down there to Bickley. Over there to McCartney as well. He's backed up. Hands there to Eccles. Crows trying to set something up here as Visca finds Rashudo. Rashudo short pass. And Varney takes it outside 50. Will he move it on? Kicked 3 goals in the practice match from the wing last week. Goes short and finds Kane Johnson. Good vision.
We were talking about the kick as Mark Rashudo just a couple of seconds slow going forward to the Tony Modra lead there. It was cut off by one Essendon defender, but just 2 or 3 metres behind him coming from the other direction was another one to cut off Tony Modra's lead. The ball back up forward now. Kane Johnson gets a shot from around about 35 metres. And he's usually a defender, and he's kicked it like one.
So Kane Johnson registers Adelaide, if you can believe it, 21st behind. But they still lead by 21 points.
Goal kicking practice pretty high on the agenda this week.
15 goals, 39. It's hard to believe. Pryor kicks in for Essendon, finds Cransberg on a short lead.
And reasonably perfect conditions too.
Cransberg sees Heffernan. It's 1-on-2. Beautiful work, defensive work by Eccles. Rashudo taps it forward. Tries to leave it there for Jarman. Jarman gives the handball off. Beautiful handball back to Smart. Smart off one step. Kicks high. Someone's got to go there. Good punch away by Pryor. Coming to meet it is Rashudo. Good strength. But cutting it off well was Henderson. Andrew Henderson read it nicely. Left foot kick up forward. Pack sets. Floating across well was Visca. Visca has been good since he came on at half-time. To Chad Rintoul. Rintoul on centre wing. Grandstand side. Kicks up towards the lead of Modra. Cutting in front and taking a very good mark is Bickley. Well, the captain showed some strength and courage there and drifting across the pack. I'm sure Malcolm Blight will be happy with his captain there. As we see on replay, just cutting across and taking a very good mark, not knowing what's coming from behind.
Mark Bickley unusually quiet tonight, and a catch like that just does your confidence wonders. Let's see how it does his kicking.
Bickley from 35. Looks good. Crow fans like it. His first for the evening.
it has been unusual. Just a little bit of pressure on Mark Bickley, the new captain, and taking up the senior role of so many of the older players now gone from the club. Perhaps concentrating a little too much on things other than getting the football and worrying about the leadership qualities. But that would have done his confidence a world of good. A great mark and a good kick for goal.
So 27-point lead to the Crows. You mentioned before Ryan Pagan, the son of Dennis Pagan, the coach of North Melbourne, dropped off the North Melbourne list. I don't think Mum would have been too happy about that, but trying out with the Bombers. Inside the centre square, we've still got a ball up.
Would have been an interesting conversation over dinner that evening, Kevin. How was your day, dear?
What happened to the club today, Dennis? You just dropped
Ryan
off the list.
Yeah.
The attendance tonight, 13,436 for this trial game. Sure, there'll be more next Friday night when Collingwood plays Adelaide in the Ansett Cup.
Inside that centre square, Risciuto back to Johnson. It's an impressive young player as well. And one-hander taken by Jarman. Mr. Magic runs into the open goal. He's going to bang through his fourth.
I said he'd make the corner his own.
And the crowd absolutely loving it here at Football Park.
Doesn't he make it look easy? See the replay here from behind, just the one-hander. I'm going to play on, take on a couple of defenders as well, have a bounce, look over the shoulder, and kick it as far as I can.
So he kicked the goal in the first term, 2 in the third, now 1 in this fourth quarter. 11:21.87. The Bombers 6:18.54. So the Crows well in control. Keating has done the ruck work all night for the Crows, with Sean Wren on the sidelines and David Pittman. So it's been an impressive game by the big fella. Number 20 wearing the helmet. Chalmers started well, has gone out of the game. Risciuto through the centre square. The ball is being brought back. The free kick's going to the Bombers in Henderson.
I think somewhere in the middle suits Mark Risciuto. He loves that in tight, close charging with his body. Got plenty of strength, plenty of skills.
Matthew Robin warming up. Henderson with the ball. Ball has to go back here to Simons. No, it is Henderson, so back behind the mark. So recruited from Old Melburnians, hoping to be picked up in the draft. Recommended to the Bombers by Peter Power, their former runner. Ryan O'Connor calling for the free kick. Visca climbs up off the ground. Robin started the game.
Surprised that there hasn't been too much there. Too much of the game on the field.
He started at centre half back, played on young Lucas. He'll spend a great deal of the game on the interchange bench. So Keating with the free kick across half back. 87 plays 54 in favour of the Crows. Keating to the edge of the centre square. From behind, Williams went the punch for the Bombers. Johnson tried to thread the ball through to Chalmers. Bickley. The free kick is going to the Bombers. So it goes to Ben Doolan, spent the first half on the interchange bench. So from half-back, kicks a long bomb. Looking for the high flyer on O'Connor. Essendon haven't really taken the mark all night across half-forward line. And the ball from Smart trickles over the boundary line. So it looks like a double change here for the Crows coming up, with Robin and Connell to come on. And then young Keating, well-deserved break.
He's had a big night, hasn't he? The sole big man out there carrying the rucks. Bit of a break, but now he gets a rest on the bench.
And also Rintoul coming off for Connell as the ball is back in play. Comes to the son of Dennis Pagan, Ryan Pagan. Kicks it up forward, but Ben Hart judges it the best and takes a comfortable mark. Hart in towards the centre of the ground looking for Collins. Collins looking for something further afield. Not too much space. Kicks along. Coming out and taking a great strong mark was Chalmers. So Chalmers is a terrific kick of the football. He's going to kick from 60. But if anyone can kick 60 in the Crows, Bruce Chalmers can. Long kick, it's going to make the square. Big leap for early by Modric, goes over the back. Stanfield, has he kicked his third? He's kicked it straight across the ground, unfortunately, across the face of goal.
Missed everything. There were 3 Crows at the back of the pack there, with Tony Modric flew very, very early, as we saw. But left 3 Crows at the back, and well, you saw where the kick ended up. It's about 40 metres around from the goal, so.
Crows lead by 33 points. Taking a bit of control in the second half as Pride prepares to kick. Kicks toward the centre line. Centre square. Robin with the punch. Collins reads it well. Hurry kick around the body. 2-on-1. Over the back. Here's a chance for Modra. Recovers well. Can't quite hook it around far enough. And again, it goes out of bounds on the full for another kick in. And then this time again, it's Pryor to take the kick.
Well, it's only the first game under Malcolm Blight, but the forward setup is slightly different with Barry Stanfield, but still hasn't been any regular movement into the forward line yet.
Essendon switched successfully. Cross ground to Doolan. Doolan has some options upfield. Heffernan sets himself. Good strong mark by the youngster with Jarman bearing down on him. Chris Heffernan inside to Doolan, who's run on. Doolan through the centre square. Again, typical kick for tonight, just bombing up the centre forward. Punched away well. Comes down to Ben Hart with pace. Backs himself in. Gets a shepherd by Bickley, gets told to run on. Up forward, 2-on-1. Punching down well with Stanfield. Jarman is having a lovely last quarter. Wouldn't surprise me if he kicked it. It's close. It's very close, but it's not close enough. And one behind results.
Just an air of excitement when Darren Jarman gets near the ball, particularly on the run like that. Just beautifully read off the hands. Knew the player was closing, still had enough time to set it up. Unfortunately, that time just wide.
Crows by 34 points. Pryor. That's his 22nd kick out. So he's had plenty of practice. To Henderson, back to Pryor. Kicks up wide and finds Jukovic. Essendon's got a lot of young players on the ground, so very hard to judge. There's the high flyer in Jamison over the top of Busby. So the Crows want to move the ball quickly. They're absolutely dominating this last term. Connell on the ground, kicks down. Modra's out, couldn't take on the second grab. Williams dribbles along the ground, back to Jarman, trying to set it up, goes very short, and he finds Collins.
Well, we talk about class players all the time, Kevin, and it just seems that sometimes they appear to have time, but also sometimes they put the foot on the accelerator and step up a notch, and Darren Jarman's done that towards the end of this game.
Well, he's an outstanding player. This youngster just in his second year of AFL football. Showed quite a lot last year. And from 45 metres out, he's pushed it left. But if you have a look at the Essendon setup at the moment, it is a very inexperienced one with a lot of players on the ground who Sheedy is trying and having a look at. With the February draft coming up, they've just got that one pick. Alessio started on the ground and went off, and Fletcher also off. Both players showered very early in the game. So their forward line really lacks some height and some ability, particularly experience. Here's Henderson, who's come on in this last term and has looked pretty impressive. From an amateur side, old Melburnians just have a bit of ability. Kicks up inside the centre square. High flyer was Lucas. Between the centre half forward and centre half back. Robin back on the ground, kicks the space. Trying to take a one-hander is Chalmers, wins it well against Williams. New recruit from East Perth, and then bangs it through. So that'll be great for his confidence.
A terrific goal, Brett Chalmers. Just showed a terrific amount of agility there when the ball came over the back. Recovered beautifully and finished it off like a forward. Here we see, just can't quite judge it, but kept his presence of mind, accelerated away nicely, and always knew where the goals were. Terrific kick by Chalmers, who started the game brilliantly at centre half forward. Faded out a little bit, but is coming back into the game nicely. Crows have their 12th. Crows have their 12th. 12-23, 95. Essendon 6-18-54. They're running away with it. Malcolm Blight will be happy with the way they're finishing off. Bounce down back in the centre. Robin's in the ruck. Goes up early. Henderson reads it off him, though. Rashudo hoping for a good bounce, but it comes to Johnson. Johnson kicks it up high. Up goes Chalmers again and takes another mark. Well, there's just something about Kevin finishing off a game of football well, getting a lot of kicks in the last quarter. When you're running off, you know you've been involved at the end, and it does give you a bit of confidence, especially when you're playing in a new position like Brett Chalmers is.
Well, he had a very good first quarter and then was pretty quiet for the second and third terms, but just starting to win more of the ball now in this last quarter.
Chalmers will kick from just inside the 50. Drop punt on the way. He's just pushed it to the right. So another behind results. Incredibly, the Adelaide Crows 24th as Mark Visca just sort of limping off there. Getting a warm up round of applause. Did well, Visca, when he came on at half-time. Seems to be a bit ginger there.
Good, strong player, goes hard at the ball.
Very, very hard. Nickname of death. You see him coming, you don't hear him coming. Ben Dillon takes the short kick. Chips it in the middle. Morgan disappeared from sight almost. Holds it up. Kicks up forward. O'Connor is there. McCartney with the spoil. Prosciutto bullocks his way through. Still has a chance and gets the handball out to McCartney. McCartney feeds to Robin. Robin's under pressure but still gets his kick away. Chalmers takes another mark. Thinks about playing on. Umpire says, yes, you have played on. Decides to go long. It's not a good kick, but Modric gets the sit and just touches it just before the siren goes. So that is the end of the trial game between Adelaide and Essendon. Adelaide comfortable winners in the end. And as you mentioned, Kevin, earlier on, the second half, Kevin Sheedy had taken most of his players off. As we see the scores there, 12-25. Adelaide have defeated Essendon 6-18 by 43 points. And I guess from an exercise point of view, both coaches would be happy, particularly Malcolm Blight. They seem to be a lot more direct than last year.
Well, I thought they kicked the ball a lot longer. And we see on screen there Barry Stanfield, who played in a forward pocket and did it very well, picked up a couple of goals, and Tony Modra with a couple of goals. But Jarman also started the game in the forward pocket and had a run on the ball, booted 4. So, you know, out of those forward setup they had down, that trio of players, they finished up with 8 goals. So they'd be happy with that. I thought that young Keating in the ruck showed a fair bit for the Crows. And if Rennan and maybe Pittman can't come up, well, the youngster showed that maybe he could hold down the spot. But they've got a big game next week. You couldn't take a lot out of the game because Essendon's side was a pretty inexperienced side. And once they took off the likes of Alessio and Fletcher and their side became pretty small, then Essendon didn't have a lot going for it. But you can only win the game, and I think Malcolm would have been very pleased with the way they played, particularly Nigel Smart, who's on screen, because he played a terrific game across centre wing, and if they can afford to play him there this year, then he could be a match winner for them. But Bruce Abernathy joins us now.
Thanks, Kevin, and let's have a look at the quarter-by-quarter scores down there. We see the Adelaide Crows, they were 2-6 to 1-3. We're just having a look down. Neil Curley on the boundary, he hasn't got anyone there, but in the end, the third quarter, the Crows kicking a lot of points. We see the scores there, 2-6 to 1-3. The third quarter, Adelaide really took charge. The kicking wasn't that, but the last quarter, particularly Brett Chalmers, finished off very, very well. Adelaide in the end running out. That's 43-point winners. Well, we're back here at Football Park again on Friday night for the opening game of the Ansett Cup Series. Adelaide against Collingwood. It should be a great opener, a big crowd on hand. And the week after, the Friday night after that, Port Adelaide opens its season proper. They play Fremantle also at Football Park, so home games for both the locals to start the season. Well, that wraps it up from down here at Football Park. On behalf of my commentators, Matt Campbell and Kevin Bartlett, we hope you have enjoyed the telecast and can join us again next week. Have a good evening.
You're off to see the match of the day, and finally you're on your way. Forget your umbrella again, oh, and at the ground it's hard to get in. And when you do get in, then it rains. Football is a funny game. You're going well, you're way out in front. Around about 6 goes clear. You can't seem to do a thing wrong. They're never gonna catch you from here. But you go home a loser again. Football is a funny old game. Hardy, 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 hardy. Football's a barrel of laughs, I know. Hooty, heedy, hooty, 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 hardy, ha. Football just cracks me up. It's the business end of the match. Your football is just about to put your boys in front. But it misses from 10 yards out. Your laughter is hard to contain. Oh, 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 football is a funny old game. Hardy, 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 hardy. Football's a barrel of laughs, I know. Heedy, heedy, hody, hody, hooty, hooty, hop. Football just cracks me up. A Collingwood parade red duck. After 32 years of bad luck, just a man running the wing, yes, just a man doing anything. Hody, hody, hooty, hooty, hee, hee. Football's one big comedy. Ha ha, hee hee, hoo hoo, ha ha, hidey hi, hee hee, hody ho, hooty ha. Football just cranks me up.
This has been a 7 Sports production.